You a grown-ass man. But don't you start a war that you don't have a shot in hell in winning.
Now, after splitting from his brother, Jenard has been on his own journey to forge his own drug empire under Treason. He had half the territory and soldiers, but pretty much straight away we began to learn Jenard's drug operation wasn't as well run as the CBI. Although both organizations did have their own issues, Jenard's is absolutely chaos. His grip on Treason is loosening. He finds himself with financial issues and he owes Merkovich a huge debt, the Crimson projects. He also owed Miguel Garcia, which forced him to lean on Shanti for a loan, and the keyword that Shanti used was a loan. So this is something we will explore in a bit more detail later on. So in this video, we're going to be looking at Jenard's crumbling empire and what effect it's going to have on him and those around him. Does he still have a chance on building back up? But we're also going to run through why I still believe there is a redemption story there for him at some point in Power Book 4 Force Season 2. Now, Chewie's death was always going to aggravate Jenard and Treason. Jay was low on blocks, bodies and territory, and so recruiting Chewie was a strategic move that would make him stronger and the CBI weaker. Unfortunately, all it did was kickstart a war with the CBI, which Diamond wanted to avoid. It was eye for an eye and shoot on sight if any of the Treason members saw Tommy on the street. And you can understand why Jenard wanted to make a move on Tommy. Just looking at this from Jenard's perspective, albeit he just recruited Chewie from the CBI, you can't just let one of your soldiers get slaughtered in the streets without payback. In the streets, you have to protect your reputation at all costs. And we've already spoken about this from Tommy's perspective, where you can't let disrespect go unanswered. And for Jenard, it was the same. His reputation was on the line, and so he had no choice but to make a move. Now, starting a war is always bad for business. You shoot, they shoot back. There's blood and death on the streets. Family and loved ones can get caught in the crossfire, and so can innocent bystanders, which only attracts law enforcement. This is what Diamond wanted to avoid. He said bloodshed was bad for business, and he tried to defuse the situation with his brother. Now, the look that Jenard had on his face was the look of a defeated man. To start a war, you need to be mobile, you need bodies, and you need to make very calculated moves. If Jenard was in a stronger position with more soldiers, money rolling in where he could buy more protection to fight this war with the CBI, then we could have had a very different conversation here, one where Jenard would have been calling the shots. Unfortunately for Jay, his organization Treason is pretty much a ticking time bomb. He's also scared of what his brother is capable of. So rewinding it back to Season 1, he wanted to make a move on both Tommy and Diamond, but he never made the move himself. He tried to get the help of Merkovich and also Walter Flynn. Unfortunately for him, both of them said they don't get in between family squabbles, which was echoed by Merkovich again at the start of Season 2.
This is a long I'm betting on you. You win, I win.
Now, Jenard does have a lot of financial issues at this moment in time. He was short on the re-up with Miguel Garcia because the money that was for Garcia he gave to Merkovich as compensation for the Crimson projects, payments that will continue until Merkovich gets his territory, something else which I'm going to touch on later on. But someone who's been in Jenard's corner since the beginning of Season 2 is Shanti. However, the money that she gave to Jenard wasn't a gift, it was a loan, because she was betting on him to win. If Jenard wins, then Shanti wins, but I think we all know Shanti is betting on the wrong man. There is no way Jenard wins from this current situation. Just have a look at what's coming his way in episode 3 with Lil K. He's got Shanti telling him to do one thing and Tommy telling him to do another. So when it comes to Shanti, I think the question we should be asking is, what happens when and if he loses? What's Shanti's next move when Jenard completely loses control over Treason, business relationships with Miguel Garcia because he can't pay him? Or when he can't deliver Merkovich the Crimson projects, there won't be an organization left. Chewie is already dead and Lil K is on borrowed time, which will only shrink Jenard's operation even more, as if it wasn't small enough already. All of these problems just keep mounting up for Jenard, and there's also another, Walter Flynn. But I think the choice of words with Shanti saying the money was just a loan and not a gift, that's the key. Nothing is free in this game, everything has a price. It's always favor for a favor, quid pro quo. So when Jenard can't deliver, what's the next move for Shanti? Because in her character description, it does say she's ambitious. She's a prize ex-professional boxer, which means she's a winner. We all saw the trophies and the accolades in episode 1, and so she's a character who strikes me as someone who won't like to lose. So the moment she sees Jenard has completely lost control over Treason, or is actually on the losing side, where will her loyalties lie? I also had a quick look at this picture again from the season trailer, where it does seem like the CBI have expanded their organization. It seems like Vic might be on board, but I see no signs of Shanti, so let's just keep an eye on this one. Now, throughout the first 2 episodes, Jenard hasn't done himself any favors either, and you can actually understand the frustration from those within his own organization. Chewie was part of Treason, and so he was Lil K's boy, so it is normal for them to want revenge. You've then got Jenard saying it was eye for an eye, shoot on sight, to then belittling Lil K, telling him to fall back. Of course, Diamond gave him no choice, but the way in which Jenard went about the whole situation, that's what aggravated Lil K. I mean, all he had to do was tell him to just wait and sit back, like Ghost once told Dre in Power.
Sometimes no response is the best response. So we're not gonna make a move. Not right now, Andre. They be expecting it. We'll let them wait in fear. We make a plan and then we attack.
Make them wait in fear, strike when the time's right and when they're least expecting it. That's what he should have told Lil K. You can't make a move when you're in a weak position.
Yeah, but Jenard's business is shit. There's a void there, and we're gonna fill it with our pills.
As if Jenard didn't have enough problems already, this is another problem coming his way: Walter Flynn. Walter recognizes Jenard's business is in a bit of a state at this moment in time, and he wants to take advantage. And so Jenard now needs to keep his head on a swivel for the Flynn organization. But with the Flynns, we've got Vic, who is trying to dismantle Walter's operation from the inside. So whether Walter is able to take over Jenard's territory, let's wait and see. But I think you guys have already recognized and have seen through this video there is a common theme. Jenard's back is against the wall and the walls are closing in fast from each and every single angle, and for me, I really just don't see a way out for him at this moment in time. Shanti seems to be his only hope, but even then, I've raised a question around her loyalty, although I still do maintain there is a redemption story that could be on the cards for Jenard's character at some point in season 2. So circling back to this image, it does seem like the CBI have either done a great job in expanding through the product they stole from Miguel Garcia, or they've joined forces with Jenard and Treason and they've come together as one. Or maybe Jenard's organization is leaving him one by one. These two gangs at this moment in time are locked in a bitter battle over control, over territory and revenge, which has only resulted in more chaos and violence. If they continue, all it will do is create significant losses on both sides. Innocent bystanders will get caught in the crossfire, which brings in law enforcement, and then nobody wins. But amongst their feud, they still do find a common enemy. Merkovich wants the Crimson projects, and at some stage, he may even make the move on the CBI, based on this image from the season trailer, because there's only so much Jenard can keep paying him off. So at some point, I do think they'll realize the situation they find themselves in. Despite the hatred and animosity between Tommy and Jenard, I can see them putting aside their differences and creating this alliance to fight this common enemy. Of course, building trust between these two will be no easy task, but they do have to realize who the bigger threat is and what their end goal is. For Tommy, it is becoming the king of Chicago, putting an end to the beef with Jenard, and so wiping out Merkovich and the Serbs on the way will only put him one step closer to his end goal. This would eliminate a huge rival, allow him to take more territory, make more money and gain more power to eventually make a move on Miguel Garcia. For Jenard, it's simple. I think he just needs to eliminate Merkovich before Merkovich eliminates him, because I think it's pretty clear he won't be able to deliver what Merkovich is asking from him. This is why I've always believed there still is a redemption story on the cards for Jenard at some point in season 2, despite all the issues he's facing at this moment in time. He just needs to come to the realization he's not as great of a leader as he first thought he was. He needs to admit that Tommy and Diamond are better at this than he is. He may have held down the CBI for 15 years while Diamond was in prison, but things have certainly changed since Tommy came into town. He caused a lot of chaos in season 1 by playing by his own rules. But in season 2, territory has changed, there's new players in town, and Jenard just doesn't have it in him at this moment in time to build or hold down his own organization. It's not that he can't do that in the future. At this moment in time, he does need to take a step back and realize he's gonna lose. Now in the meantime, Jenard does have the matter with Lil K to deal with. How that plays out, let's wait and see. Will Jenard kill him, or could Lil K even turn into a snitch for law enforcement?